So concerning disposition of classified information, we're going to talk about classified discussion. And again, this destruction, this comes from another CFR. This is 32 CFR 2001.42. And though it's a segue out of NISPOM, it is part of NISPOM requirements. While this comes from a NISPOM topic, we have to go to another CFR. Again, NISPOM is 32 CFR Part 117. We're going to 32 CFR 2001.42. So contractors should implement a classified destruction plan. And when they're using equipment to destroy classified information, it must be listed on the evaluated products list. And we'll refer to that as the EPL. And that's issued by the National Security Agency. So they know what they're talking about as far as destroying classified information. Now, sometimes these EPLs are updated, and you've seen some of the markings that this is good until a certain date. If the EPL is revised and you are using an approved device that is part of this revision, you don't have to replace that device for 6 years. So it's in your best interest to go ahead and replace that device when you can, but you can continue using it for 6 years. Now, the destruction of classified information, if you have that in your possession, should be based on instructions from the DD Form 254 or equivalent. And we've learned a little bit about destruction earlier, that you should not destroy classified information or downgrade or declassify information until your government customer or your prime tells you to do so. It should not be done on its own. So always ensure before you destroy classified information that that is the intent of your customer. And that classified information should be destroyed in such a way that it can never, ever be reassembled. Now, the disclosure of classified information to contractors and subcontractors. There are times when, as part of your contract, you as a subcontractor may receive classified information from a prime contractor. Or there are times where you, as a prime contractor, may disseminate classified information to your subcontractor. And as the relationship indicates, there must be a contractual relationship. One cannot share classified information just because the other has the same clearance level. It has to be part of need to know as well as on contract. And we'll discuss a little bit later about similarly, a contractor cannot share classified information with a contractor not on contract with them, because it's ultimately owned by the government contracting activity or the OCA who classified it. Similarly, information owned by the Department of Energy, if you're a DoD contractor and you have information that originates with the Department of Energy, you cannot share that information outside to any other government organization unless approved by the Department of Energy. In the same way, if you're on a Department of Defense contract, you cannot share that information from the Department of Defense with any other agency, Department of Justice, Department of Energy, DERNZA, without approval from the DoD. And this approval also goes with government contracting activities. If you have a contract with the Department of the Army and one of their program executive offices, you can't share that information with another program executive office without that OCA or that government contracting activities permission. So when we go have these discussions with the disclosure of classified information, right now we're on the contractor and subcontractor, but this also approves to government agencies. And we'll get the same guidance when we start working with classified information internationally. We'll discuss foreign government information. We'll discuss foreign classified contracts as well. So keep that in mind. The owning organizations makes a determination of whether or not you destroy information, who you can share that information with, and approval must be gained before taking these permanent actions. So if you're in a subcontract relationship, you may share that classified information on that contract if it is in performance of the contract, and if the other contract organization has the appropriate security clearance level, appropriate storage level, and of course that need to know. Now the CSA or DCSA in our case will have to ensure that the subcontractor has that eligible access at the same or higher level, and they have that storage capability. So that is determined through the DCSA. So always make sure you understand that in this contract subcontract relationship. Know those left and right limits. So you can share classified information between a parent and subsidiary. There are many organizations under the same name that have different cage codes. They may all have the same cage code too in different types of relationships, but disclosure between a parent and subsidiary with the appropriate clearance and need to know, they have to make sure that there's access to classified information necessary for the performance of that contract, and that parent must pass the classification guidance to the subsidiary. Again, the DCSA's role is to make sure that the subsidiary or the parent both have that appropriate access to classified information and the ability to store that classified information. Now, we talked about federal agency relationships, and this just states that contractors only disclose classified information from two other federal contracting agencies when authorized and directed by the owning government contracting activity. The contractor cannot go out and make this determination on their own. We as contractors are using it, and we use it on contract, but we are not able or authorized to share that outside of our contract. Disclosing classified information to foreign persons. Again, contractors have no authority to do that unless directed by the contract or the government contracting activity. And again, the release of that information is authorized in writing by whoever has jurisdiction. So if you're on a contract with DOD, whoever that government contracting activity is under DOD. If you're working with restricted data and formerly restricted data, you've got to get permission from the Department of Energy before you share that information with foreign persons. And that's whether or not you export it overseas, remove it from your facility and bring it overseas, or give access to a foreign person that is working in your environment. Again, you may get permission to release classified information, but remember, classified information release and releasing export controlled information have two different processes, and they both must be approved.